Hello and welcome to the Blue House Bowl session. Here back with you, Bullin' on this beautiful Wednesday, the 21st of that M month. May. Yes, not March, May. Why do they put the two M months right next to each other? I don't get it. Not right next to each other, but in proximity to each other.
Unlike the two J months that are immediately next to each other. Both start with JU.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. Although at least they have different numbers of syllables. I don't know. I'm not even in this time zone. I was telling Fuzzy as we were in our little get started session that I took a little nap today, and that little nap lasted right up until what's basically call time for the show. So I'm still kind of making my way back to planet Earth today.
I'm not much better. I have some things going on in my life and was trying to take care of them and then was up way too late relative to my, weird time zone existence. And I didn't actually lay down into bed until like 1:30. So I got a good solid 2 or 3
2 hours,
hours.
3, yeah.
Yeah.
No sleep till Brooklyn, etc.
What the thing is Wednesdays, because of
Yeah.
life thing, Wednesdays are always like this because I don't even get to well, I got to be up late in the morning, but it's okay. I'll just sleep through. No, I've got to make sure I get up early because I have this. So I can't even get an extra 2 or 3 hour nap later in the day before work. It's like, no, you get to have no sleep and then no sleep and then you have another thing. So there's no sleep.
If it ever comes down to it, we can shift this around. You're always reminding me of that. I will make sure you know the same.
If other thing that I don't want to yet
Yeah.
announce does
Yeah.
go through, we may have to talk.
Yeah, no, that absolutely will not be a problem at all whatsoever. That would be
Because,
the best of reasons to have to do it. I will say that. That's
well,
that's
we may
like
just have to shift it
down
down.
from 6. Yeah.
Yeah, because
That's okay.
there's a new concept at 45, or 43, a commute.
I know. Isn't that unreal? That's okay cuz I have an idea to pitch you anyway. Shall we start the Hurgle minute early?
What?
We should start a show with the rest of the Hurgle team and our associated fans and hangers on and etc. Like the people in the Hurgle community, in addition to the four of us that actually own the thing proper.
Yeah.
I was looking at the thing I showed you at dinner on Monday and
Mm-hmm.
thinking, you know, I want to get this to a point where I can show it to the rest of the team, specifically like hand it over and be like, all right, what do you think of this? You know? Get it a little more structurally sound, get it so that it actually has things you do, and then be like, all right, am I on to something or not? And then I thought to myself, man, wouldn't that be a cool flavor of podcast? If once a week we set aside 2 hours for the team and everyone just kind of shared not just a camera, but like a little mini setup. Here's what I am playing. Here's my camera, you know, and we just kind of all play it and give live feedback and show top secret unreleased demos of stuff on the fly, whether they're multiplayer or single player. But everyone can see everyone else's screen, and we just share it with everyone and be like, yeah, this is what I've been doing for the past 2 weeks because I don't know why. Now let's see what everyone thinks out loud. I mean, it would work extra well for multiplayer stuff, obviously.
Hmm. I would almost say it'd be better to record that
Yeah.
and then premiere it. That's just in case we do want to edit anything out that does oops, an API key or something, because
Understandable. Understandable.
it yeah. Um, yeah,
I dig it. I think I'm gonna like float
wiggle
the
show
idea
and
by
tell.
everyone else. Yeah, exactly. And that way, if we have a thing or several things we want to show off, like we ostensibly have private syncs, although I've been really bad at scheduling them. Why not a public sync on a regular rotating thing?
I mean, that's largely why, our Lord and Savior Pirate Software got
Yeah,
started streaming. Is he originally, they had raised money. I think it was a Kickstarter.
yeah,
I think it was originally a Kickstarter to fund the game Heartbound. And far too often, what happens in a lot of Kickstarters, especially in software where there's less tangible things to track and show progress on, is people take the money and they run.
yeah.
And he really hated that. So he's like, no, I want to show the progress of what your money is going into.
I want to
And
make
so he's
sure
like,
you see what's happening.
I want to show you the progress of the game as it goes, because this is what you're paying. You're paying to me to exist while I make the game. It's hard to show that. So he just started streaming it. This is before
Yeah,
streaming software was a thing on
yeah,
Twitch or
yeah, yeah,
anywhere. And that's why he started streaming the game development, was entirely because it was a show and tell of, it was a live in progress devlog basically.
I like that. I like that.
That's why that was my plan originally, why I was
Yeah.
going to do more software streaming, and then I started getting into projects I couldn't stream. It's like, it sucks because there's stuff I want to work on and I want to show me working on it, but there's no good way to like show private stuff.
Well, we do need to talk about that because you should be able to.
No, there was other stuff I was
Yeah,
doing on the side for other people that
yeah.
like they actually mentioned to me like, "Hey, I know you stream stuff. Can you not show this off because there's not that not like, I trust you with keys and stuff, but like there may be, semi proprietary stuff in here or whatever." It's like, yeah, I won't show any of
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
this.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Although I have seen a lot of people start doing like co-working hangout streams where you don't see what they're doing. It's just
Yeah.
like a hangout with me while I work over here on another screen that you can't see, and it's muted, but we're just sort of
Okay,
body
I
doubling.
said last night, I said in Jiggy's chat, I would hang out with Jiggy co-working streams. Like if he's not under the pretense that he's going to play a game, if he's booking stuff for GDQ or he's
Hmm.
working on an event or whatever, I would hang out for those streams.
Yeah.
Like don't even feel like you have to entertain us. This is me opting to join you in a virtual office. We'll both work. And when you say something funny, I'll respond in chat. I like that.
I mean, that's what I think a lot of I think that's what a lot of streamers are doing these days.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, that's what a lot of the just chatting stuff is like. I'm here doing stuff. I just happen to be in another room virtually with tens of my favorite close personal friends.
Yes, every morning I get up and I say hi to Allie in the chat and I just kind of like lurk in there. And if I switch headphones so I can listen to a work meeting, no problem. It's still just sitting up in a corner of my window, knowing she is there working as well and knowing that all of my friends there are working as well. But it's been really nice. It's been really nice.
No, you idiot. If you turn off the mouse so you can clean the gunk out of it, you have to turn it back on when you set it back down.
Only if you want it to work. Only if you expect to be able to move your mouse cursor with it. Did you remember to overcook a hard-boiled egg to replace the ball? Is it that time of the week again?
Oh my god.
They really did. The balls in old ball mice looked like an overcooked hard-boiled egg yolk.
Approximately a million years ago when I worked at Hollywood Video, I was young. I don't think I was 18 yet. I was young. And there was a computer on the other service desk that wasn't
Yeah.
where that was like the junk pile basically. It was where we just stored all the stuff. Like ideally there was supposed to be another bank of 3 registers over there that we never used. Like it's where the manager did their computing and where like the district manager would use it. And there was a computer over there that only the district manager used. And it had a ball mouse on it. And
Oh no.
I don't know why I thought it was funny. I glued not the mouse, not the ball in there, but I glued the ring in place. So it would continue to work fine, and you would never notice until it had been a few weeks or whatever, and it got just gunky enough. You're like, oh, you have to, take it out and
Mm-hmm.
clean the gunk off the wheels because just got slightly too gunk and not enough traction, and so it would be months and months later that you would discover this trap, and I I did it, and I got in trouble for it because somehow they knew it was me because this is back in the age when I was the only person that knew how to touch a computer or that
Yeah.
the bottoms opened up at all. So obviously it was me. But
Some people, man. Some people.
I was also the only person who knew how to touch a computer. And when they would break, it did not terrify me to open the cabinet and unplug and replug things and turn it and just reboot the small Dell PC underneath the desk to fix
Yeah.
that's what the terminals around is. I would get in there and do stuff to it, and they're like, "That's scary technology." I mean, it's a goddamn computer, people. It's literally just a computer under here.
Yes, but at that point in time, we were the ones that were exposed to them because they weren't like an every household appliance. They weren't an
Yeah.
everyday use item for a lot of people. We were just barely starting to get to that point.
Oh God, that would have been Tu Wong Fu. No, no, no. When did this movie come out? The film released in September 1995. So it was what
90,
4 or 5.
97, 98.
No, it would have been 96
Yeah.
because I was at Hollywood Video when this came out to tape, and there was usually at least a 6 month delay
Yeah.
before stuff came out to home video, 6 to 9 months. So it would have been 95, 96 is when I was there. So yeah, this would have been
Several years
yeah shit.
ago.
I no, I would have been 16.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, that makes sense. I would have been 16.
We're still
So
still work permit age.
yeah. Oh God, that's that's still a weird concept.
Yeah.
Like it's a lot more regulated now, but to think back that far ago, it's like, oh, you can work, but only these many hours. It's like you shouldn't be working.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I really think you just shouldn't be
I know
working at that age.
we try not to get too political in here, but it seems to me that like those are the same people that tell you that certain jobs don't have to pay anything because they're only for people like that, kids of that age, and
Yeah.
housewives without enough children, and
Oh my God.
yeah. No, I think you got it right, Stu. I think 100% it was that single hardware failure destroyed an entire industry. That's what it was.
Oh man, I still have stories from it. No, the video rental business went out of business entirely because of greed. It was greed from top to bottom, that entire chain, and it was a business. It was basically a predatory business that existed on artificial scarcity and uh not racketeering. What's the other one? Collusion.
Yeah, everybody working together.
Yeah.
Oh, what do I eat from Taco Bell?
I can't believe you people come here voluntarily.
Thank you so much for the follow. Much appreciated. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I love those moments where you see like an immediate spike in some random search and you're trying to like trace it back to the event. And when you find one of those where it's like, I know the event, I know what happened that's going to cause everyone to add, like people Googling eyes hurt and the location trends when we had the solar eclipse.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You can do a share, right? Can you find that graph? We need an assistant. Who's the third guy on the other show that just does the thing and switches in the visuals?
A
We need one of
producer,
those. Yes,
a
we need one
silent
of those.
producer that occasionally pipes in and ends up being a third co-host.
Yeah, that one.
Cough, cough. Veronica Belmont.
That sounds right.
No, no, not an editor, producer. They're like live on the show. They just stay silent and they're doing stuff in the background.
Yeah, I got a share button here somewhere. I can do that. There we go.
Originally, uh, there was a tech early proto podcast called Buzz Out Loud. It was a CNET thing, and it was Molly Wood and and Ace Detect. What the hell is his name? The other guy. But their silent producer was Veronica Belmont, and she just like occasionally piped in, a mine here, and then people are like, "Hey, no, she's funny. Can we have more of her?" And so she just accidentally became the third co-host of this two-person show, and then end up, yeah.
I love it. I love it. Now I'm frantically scrambling to find the Taco Bell. I know what they have, but I have to tell her the words for which combination of things they have.
You want a black bean Crunchwrap Supreme?
No, no,
No.
no. Softer.
Why?
It's one of those days. I
Yeah.
want something even softer than that.
Yes, but the Crunchwrap, the middle gets soggy by the time you get it.
Yeah, I know, but you have to bite through the outside.
So there's a popular drink called the Arnold Palmer with way too many of the wrong syllables.
Oh, the dead billionaire. Yeah.
Yes, and it's tea and lemonade. So I don't like regular tea, and I don't really like lemonade. I'm weird,
No, I can get it.
but I do like Arizona green tea. And it's not just because we basically grew up on that. So, and now they have diet green tea with not tons of sugar,
Yeah.
and you can get it by the gallon. So that's good on its own. Except they also sell zero sugar pineapple juice.
Oh.
And I managed to score one out of the discount bin at work. And I'm like, I will drink both of these because originally the pineapple juice was going to be mixed with rum. And I'm like, wait, I have tea and I have a fruit beverage. Like, can I like alternate dead billionaire?
Yeah.
Green tea as opposed to black tea, and pineapple juice and lemonade. Like, what is the word for this? Delicious. Green tea and pineapple juice. Yeah. It's pretty good.
I'm into it. I'm into it. I'm very much into it. Meanwhile, I'm just over here drinking my coffee adjacent dairy based sugar beverage.
I gotta charge my headphones before work tonight.
The Kit Kat creamer is too good. It is dangerously too good.
It is good.
It is. Yeah, I've been thinking. Okay, I've been like I know I'm half awake. I know I've mentioned that, but like the two things that are not directly related to the day job that have been just floating in my head all day are skeletons and cafe. Especially because you sent me that link to Becca. Becca
Beckerly?
Becca Beckerly. It was there somewhere. Yes. No. Absolutely. The Kit Kat coffee creamer is the most amazing stuff. I did go out and get another bottle of it. I cannot stress to you how good this stuff is. Also, hi Ness. Hi. I still have you on my schedule for this weekend. I'll follow up with you about that later, but I have you there. Some things that you had said during watching her stream this morning that we had on our list to do that now we've seen like more prevalent in people that are playing. So I grabbed that one ticket that we made because yes, even though we're a small independent for Yahoo's doing this for laughs is basically our studio's motto at this point. But
oh man,
we
the paperwork I had to fill out.
Yeah. But yeah, we still have to have some sort of work tracking system. So we're using GitHub issues right now on little private local blah 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 blah. Because we've all been software development people professionally at some point. This is a hobby business, and we all have done this as day jobs, whether or not we are currently. We all have experience with tracking stuff in Jira and moving tickets across a Kanban board, and you get used to it, and you need that kind of structure. You don't need it done the way I've seen it implemented everywhere else ever, because everybody does it so wrong. It's physically painful.
Okay. I was having a conversation with some people, and they said Jira, and I'm just hanging out and talking, and I noticeably tensed up, and they called me on it, and I'm like, I know that word. I've spent days of hours of my life in Jira dashboards and editing pages in Confluence. Atlassian is a 4-letter word in my household. And we got to talking about that, and it's like, oh, agile and stuff, and I'm like, what flavor? And they're like, well, and I'm like, yeah, because nobody does any of them correctly. They're like,
Yeah.
it's you intend to do one thing and then nobody does.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and I said, what, like, Scrum Masters or not? And I said, what we need is I need to make a T-shirt that says, I had a Scrum phase in college.
Oof.
They lost it. They're like, okay, you are the right flavor of deranged we like.
See, the thing is, man, I've got the certification. I am a PSM1. I am a licensed Scrum Master.
Oh shit.
You didn't know that?
Oh, that's right. Oh,
Yeah.
that's right. I know. I forgot about that. I forgot you took all those courses. Yeah.
So, like, I understand, and it's similar. I know we just said we're not doing politics. The principle of Scrum is very similar to something that's baked into the Constitution because,
Communism?
I wish. But the point is, oh, I'm dying today. The Constitution of the United States is written in such a manner where there is an explicit situation called out. If all of this doesn't work, tear it down and change it. It's explicitly stated in there. If
Yeah.
this doesn't work, tear it down and change it. When you are doing a retrospective meeting under the Scrum guidelines,
Mm-hmm.
you are supposed to evaluate what worked well for you and what did not. But it does not just mean in terms of what actually happened in this sprint, in this particular time block. It means evaluate this whole process too. Is this of any use to us? Are we getting value from this? Change that if it's not. But there are a lot of people who just treat it as gospel, and they say, well, the rules say we have to have a 15-minute stand-up every day. No, the rules,
No.
the guidelines say that every day the team should communicate with each other what you got done, what you're still doing. Not any sort of status update to management at all whatsoever. It is, this thing's out of the way, nobody has to worry about it. This is the thing I'm doing right now. So that two people don't step on each other's toes. So that the rest of the team can see from the work we've already agreed to do how much of it is done and how much of it needs to be done. And if you're hitting a wall, if you're on, like bumping up against a roadblock or something, that moment, that 3 minutes, 15 minutes is an upper bound. If you hit 15 minutes, there's something fundamentally wrong with your process. I'm sorry, I can see on your face already. I know I'm doing the Scrum rant again, and you've heard the Agile rant from me too many times. If you hit 10 minutes, you have a problem.
Mm-hmm.
If you hit 10 minutes, either your team is too big or they don't understand the purpose of this discussion. The whole point of it being called a stand-up is that you should be able to hold this meeting standing up. The standing up is not important. The important part is this meeting should be short enough that the position you're in does not become uncomfortable. If you're standing up in front of a chair for 10 minutes, odds are that's about the time when you're going to decide to sit down. Unless you're like one of those people that has a standing desk. You know what I mean? So,
No, there was a noise, and I was trying to identify if that's a bad noise, I should get up and go, or that's an okay noise.
ice cream truck? He came by yesterday and I didn't
Washing
get out in time to catch him.
washing machine thumping.
Ah, gotcha. But yeah, the point of a stand-up in a Scrum sense is
Mm-hmm.
to make sure everyone knows that something is being worked on, and if it's something you need another body to do. Hey, I was working on this yesterday. I didn't get shit done because I feel really dumb. Can someone sit over my shoulder? That is an update for a Scrum meet, for a daily Scrum.
We used the other thing about the stand-up is they also tend to work more better or less bad, depending on how you want to empty glass this, if everybody's in the same fucking time zone. Even
100%.
if you're remote, when you've got people spread across the day, even
Yeah.
maybe you've got some East Coast and West Coast, or something like if it's a sliding day, they don't really work.
Yeah.
We used a Slack stand-up bot that you would check in with when you started your day.
Yeah.
and you would check out with when you ended your day, regardless of what your hours were. Maybe you were working a shorter time, you were at a less, if I've got a thing in the morning, when I get in at 11, I'll talk to the bot and tell them what I'm working on. And you could see whatever everybody else is like, oh, somebody else already grabbed that ticket that I was supposed to work on today. Cool, I won't grab it. This is what I'm working on then. And because our manager was, I won't say she's a chef because she doesn't like being called that, because she's not a chef, because that's apparently a protected term, but she's an avid cooker. It's a thing.
All right, hang on. You done baited me now.
I don't know if it's kind of one of those things, like technically an engineer is also a protected term.
Okay, that's a U.S. thing, or that's an everywhere in the world except the U.S. thing. It not being a protected term is specifically a U.S. thing, and I'm frustrated by that. But we'll come back to that.
Yeah. But anyway, she's a very strong avid cooker. How's that? So she renamed it. It was, what's on your plate. And then at the end of the day, if you had like what there was like, okay, what you actually got done, and if you have anything you're handing off, she called that section was called, do you have any?
Oh, I like that. So, not legally protected, unlike the terms master chef, which are validated through a professional process. The understanding of chef is a title earned through experience and professional training, not simply a claim. But there's no hard and fast rules. And you and I both have that flavor of neurodivergency where that's unacceptable. I need to know where the hard and fast rules are on this. But I
Yeah.
digress. Far out. Different meanings. Master chef's a registered title. A chef is commonly understood for a professional cook. It's not protected, but it might also be like based on an assigned role. Chef de cuisine, chef de partie.
Yeah.
Okay. I suppose I can understand where she's coming from with that. Then that makes enough sense. Makes enough sense for me to accept.
In the same way, being amateur versus I have done a thing professionally for money.
Yeah.
Well,
that's
like I have professionally done this. I do this professionally. I just like doing that thing. Like there's terms you would use to describe yourself differently.
Yeah.
I'm
going to come back to engineer because I started flapping my arms and yelling that I was going to come back to engineer. I want my iron ring. I want to join the Society of Engineers as a software engineer.
There's
to
a
prove
separate
that.
software one. There's a separate computer engineer one.
I want to prove that. I want to have that as evidence, to wear that iron ring. For anyone in the audience who doesn't know, when you join the Society of Engineers, you are given an iron ring to wear on the pinky finger of your right hand, or your dominant hand in any case. And it is a symbolic thing to show the weight of your actions by giving a physical weight to your hand as it moves across the desk. And now she's here in case. Okay. Yes, I am going to run and grab stuff with Ashley real quick because apparently she came back and needs hands. So, are you good taking charge for a minute?
Yeah.
Cool. I will be right back.
Hello, chat. It is just us. He might still be here. I don't know. Headphones, maybe wireless. I don't know. Yeah. Industry terms in industry titles, especially ones that are actually protected, it's interesting. Like I believe in them, and I think a lot of them should be earned, and it's a thing that when you do earn them is a good thing. But in a lot of times they end up being a, pardon my vulgar French, but a dick measuring contest, is whether or not you have it or not, and what degree you have. And it gets real murky in the software world that we're, you know, Jay and I are mainly from. Is there's whole generations of us that just never went to college and got degrees in these things because it kind of became a weird, like, yes, you could go to school for software engineering and you could graduate with that, or you could just be a total hermit nerd and just self teach programming for 15 years and be just as good if not better. And there's no good way to measure, I am a software engineer and you are not.
I mean, you're right. The only part I heard was like the last 8 words of that, but you are right. You are a software engineer and I are not. Yeah, I like the ceremony of it. I like the pomp and the circumstance and all of that. Anyway, thank you. I appreciate that. Just had to help grab stuff out of the car and whatnot. And now I have Taco Bell. So when we take our 7 o'clock break, I get to inhale several tortillas full of meat. Man. Can we can't make a game out of this, but could we make a game out of that?
What? Taco Bell?
So instead of Minecraft crafting grid, it just builds like a graph relationship, but it does use the relative XY of things.
What?
And you have meat, tortilla, lettuce.
Oh my god.
And the relative location of each object in proportion to another determines what dish you make. But all you have is the 6 things that go in Taco Bell, and you have to create the food combinations out of each individual.
Hear me out.
All right.
You know one of those personality grids that's on like a pentagon or a hexagon, and it's like the scale goes inside out, and it's like, you are this shape based on like outgoing, like one of those. That's your 6 axes for meat, cheese, tomato, vegetable, sauce.
Yeah.
And you can adjust those sliders, and we just match the shape, and that's what determines if the shape matches the different foods. Is like, oh, if it's kind of like this, it's a crunch wrap, and if it's kind of like this, it's a taco. And it's like, that's like your spell crafting grid, because it's like, oh, I want more distance, or I want more AoE, or I might want more saving throws, or more chance for critical. There's a whole spell crafting system.
Yeah.
That does that there's an alternate spell creation system for D&D that does that, and you have to describe your spell along these terms on what it does, and you get that map, and you draw basically like a constellation shape based on that, and then that gets encoded into words.
Okay.
And that is the incantation for your spell.
Neat. Okay, that's
but it's
neat.
Like a slight, but it's not just like, oh, I changed this one word. It's like the whole, it basically gets hashed. So it's like a slight modification of it being one axis this way totally changes the string of words you have to say to cast it.
I could dig that.
Yeah.
I also think Hear Me Out would be the perfect title for the show I was describing at the beginning, the Hurgle Show and Tell. Here's the crazy idea I'm pitching. I've made a prototype of it. Hear me out. What if you were a skeleton? What if Gauntlet, but it's also Repo?
You need to have a secret mode called No Bones, that it's all loose jelly physic, no structure, like flopping about. Like oh, not Quap. What's the Quap dad? What was that? Octodad. Yeah, an Octodad mode where there's no physics inside, and call it No Bones mode.
Or the storyline driven one, Octodad Traveler. Oh, wait, that was Octopath Traveler. Hey, I have an idea now.
Octopath Traveler was apparently a really good game. I meant to pick it up like for a lot of times. It's like one of those. There's a whole series of games that it's like that looks really good. I really want to pick that up and play that. And then I look at it and I'm like, I do not have the time to play games like that.
You know, it's interesting you should say that because I need to talk to you about games, specifically games like that.
Oh,
Do you need games?
I mean, maybe. Why?
Because I have been asked by another member of our team if I can purchase some games, and I think it's time to do a weekly game drop. Would you like some games? First of all, do you have or want Deep Rock Galactic?
Let me double check which game that is
Okay.
because
I have been
depending
told
on what
that I may need to pick that up as a research point for some of the stuff I'm working on. For all of our
is
new
that
viewers,
the Rock and Stone
yes, that it
crazy
is. Yes.
co-op mining? Okay.
Yeah, that one.
Oh, that's Coffee Stain.
Yeah.
That's the Satisfactory people. Okay.
So, for all of the new folks here, one of the motivations behind formally establishing our game studio as a business is that games we are purchasing with the intention of research for titles we are developing when searching for inspiration, things like that, count as business expenses. So we can take our communal income from the sales and revenue of anything we do and buy games out of it and get a tax benefit for that. So I have been told that several of us need to play Deep Rock Galactic because it's similar to an idea I have. And Ego also wants to know if I would get him a little to the left. So I said, yes, of course.
I think he definitely needs to play a little to the left because there's a lot of UI
Yeah,
stuff
yeah,
that you learn from that.
very much. Very much.
Um,
I'm gonna get him the bundle because I think the bundle's on sale right now. But I'm gonna get him the bundle anyway.
um, oh, speaking of bundles,
Yes.
there is there's a Godot 4 bundle on Humble Bundle right now.
Ooh.
But it's not books, it's like coursework.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
And I don't know if it would be worth it more than what we would be able to just do from other sources, honestly.
Are you interested in it? That's the thing.
Yes and no. There's one specifically I'm like, "Oh, that would be really kind of useful to see." But at the same time, if it is mainly here's our very curated in detail YouTube tutorials type thing, it's like, "Oh, no, I can learn from Stack Overflow and YouTube."
Eh, well, you know me. I also have like very few qualms getting anything from Humble Bundle because of the nature of charity. If this is something you're
Yeah.
interested in, I have no problem picking it up. Your money's worth. How do I phrase this politely? I'm hopeful you'll get something out of it. I'm getting money's worth out of it because some of it's going to charity. Hard stop.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, I'm absolutely. I'll pick that up for you. I'll pick that up for
Eh.
you.
If we collectively are going to be doing more Godot
Yeah.
stuff, it may be
Yeah.
worth getting it for that, because especially if you're doing,
Yeah. Exactly.
the Bones game, the 3D one may be more used to you than the 2D one is to me, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. Okay, I can do that. I can absolutely do that. I can absolutely.
And under books, there's a crochet one. Wanted to let you know.
Ooh, I know someone who might like that very, very much. Yeah. I do know someone who might like
Also,
that very,
to
very much.
anybody listening, and you hate all your free time and you love reading, they extended now through tomorrow. I think it's only got like another day left. They have a Wheel of Time bundle on Humble Bundle of all 17
Oh,
gazillion
what?
books in that series.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yo.
It's the 17 bucks and then the companion and the map book. And it's like 18 bucks for
Nice.
17 goddamn.
That
It's
is, yeah,
something
that is
like,
not bad at all.
yeah. Humble Bundle. You know what? We ought to see if we can get a Humble Bundle referral code set up for as much as we pitch shit.
Yeah. Yeah, that is true. Honestly, you know what we need to do is I need to get some of our stuff together and put it in a humble bundle.
What you need to do, based on conversation from this morning, is finish the goddamn soundtrack with the other background
Yes.
sounds we were going to add to the game, and put them in
Yes.
a soundtrack. Put that on Steam, and then sell that as a bundle on Steam, and also be able to sell that as a bump. Get the game and the extended soundtrack thing, because people
Yeah.
would fucking buy the goddamn soundtrack to listen to it, because for whatever reason people like that 15-second background loop you have.
It's not 15 seconds. That's part of the reason it's good is it's longer. Plus,
Becca, this
the new stuff does come with new music too.
the Becca this morning was like, it's we've been playing this game for 6.5 hours, and it's just only got this one background song, and nobody's complained that this is boring and repetitive. It says a lot about that.
Like, I also want to make sure that we release the soundtrack when we do under license terms that are like, yes, please use the hell out of this in your streams and broadcasts. You are
Yeah.
hereby, by getting the soundtrack, granted a non-exclusive right to use this as background for any of your streaming whatever. Per us. If anyone gives you a
There's
copyright claim about it, tell me, we'll go slap them down.
a couple games I bought the soundtrack for Shapes 2,
Ooh.
and because okay, they did it right. It's their one and only DLC, but it unlocks it unlocks all the soundtrack for the game. But the soundtrack for Shapes 2 also has the complete soundtrack to Shapes 1, so you can use the background music from the first game in the second game.
Nice. Welcome in,
And
Raiders, to the Blue House Bull Session. Happy to see you. Sorry to interrupt your train of thought, Fuzzy. Palm, thank you for bringing your friends over to me. We are always happy to see you. We are here yelling about video
Yay!
games, as we tend to do on Wednesdays. Sometimes ours, sometimes other people's. Yeah, no. Every time, I have to. Let me look over my shoulder. At Super Bob, are you here? I have my Steam set to offline in case I open, say, an idle incremental game during the day. I don't need all of my coworkers to know that.
No. Mark them as private. It doesn't and hides them. You don't see the 1,000 of them I'm running.
Yeah, but there are times I do want people to know I just forget to turn it back on. That's the thing, is it's not the games I want to hide, it's the when they're opened between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. Eastern.
No. Also, pro tip to everybody. Oh my god, shut up, phone. I see you going off. Pro tip: if you play incremental games on Steam, go into the properties of them and set Steam is allowed to do downloads while this game is running, because by default, every game blocks Steam from doing downloads and updates.
Yeah.
And if you have a game that you never close, it will never do background updates and installs and stuff.
Yep.
So if you have a game that you are leaving open, or a soundtrack or wallpaper engine or stuff like that, be like, oh, Steam Nerd is like, yeah, because you've been running wallpaper engine for 7.5 weeks, and it thinks it's the game. It has no way of, well, it does now because
Yeah.
it knows it's software.
Yeah.
But oh my god, Steam finally adding the software classification for stuff was a game changer for stuff like that.
Yeah. No, 100%. Absolutely.
And also turn on the download limiter for Steam. Set it at like 10,000 bits. It's a nice low thing. Then let Steam auto download all your stuff. If you need it now, you can right click and say, yes, I want this now, turn off the limiter, and it'll download all of it now. But for the most part, let it do that so it doesn't kill your computer, it doesn't kill your downloads, it doesn't kill your bandwidth or your CPU, but let it auto update all your stuff. It'll change your life.
Steam really does it right. It is not perfect. No piece of software ever is. No creation of man ever can be. But Steam really does it so right.
You know why? Because the people who work on Steam fucking use Steam.
It's the ultimate dogfooding. They are making the product that they want to exist, not that corporate demands.
That's the entire reason Big Picture Mode exists.
Yeah.
Is the one guy used to sit down on his couch and was just sharing his computer over TV. He's like, this interface just sucks for this.
Let's make one specifically for my TV. Yeah. That's the way to do it.
Because he kept having to like change his DPI settings for that and then change them back. He's like, what if we just made Steam a mode that was just high DPI and giant buttons and always worked with controllers better and was basically like a TV interface.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, yeah, let's do that. And then what if we made it tiny and put it on a small handheld portable thing? Because that's why the Steam Deck exists, is people said, hey, what if Big Picture Mode was portable?
Yeah. Exactly. As it should be. As it should be. In my ever so humble opinion.
Poke around, like pick any game and go into properties and look around at what it has. Steam has a lot of options. Like you can say, automatically update this the second anything drops. If it's a game like you jump in a lot, you want it always don't let it wait.
Yeah.
Or allow background updates or do this or do that. Look at the settings.
Where is the thing? All right. I have a thing I have to take care of in a little bit. I'll worry about that later, though. Yeah, Steam's actually really well set for Steam's just so good. I'm sorry. I know I'm fanboying here, but Steam is just so good. It's an amazing piece of software, the Steam client, an amazing platform as independent developer. Like, there are other ways to do it. But in terms of friction versus feature, like, the barrier of entry is low, but not zero. Yes, there's shovelware out there on Steam, absolutely. Tons of it. But the good stuff tends to filter up naturally. And by naturally, I mean Steam behind the scenes is doing a ton of work to keep the shovelware at the bottom and let the cream rise to the top.
I would also somewhat argue that by nature, since the introduction of the discovery queue, it kind of self-curates its own Ouroboros loop. Is because based on the people that if you go into, for you guys don't know, if you go into Steam, if you're on the client, it's under the store menu's discovery queue. You'll see it come up a lot during Steam sales. They make a big push of it. But it's basically, here is 10 random games, not random, but here is 10 games we want to put in front of you that we think, based on your likes, are either very similar to what you play or similar to stuff your friends are playing or your friends have just recently liked or whatever. It's very ultra intelligently curated. It's not just random. It is curated for you, but it's in batches of 10. It's like, do you like this? No? Hit skip or wish list it or buy it right there. It's just like, it's basically Tinder for Steam games. It's like, not like, just boop 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 boop. You're done.
Yeah.
That's it.
And it's a small enough list that you can do it quickly. Here is some. Rather than the fire hose, have this glass.
I think it's like 3 or 4 based on similar to your interest, a couple based on your friend's interest, some off the wall ones that maybe like they try to step out of your comfort zone. Like this is kind of related to things you like, but not specifically to the genres. Like you tend to play a specific type of action game or idler or whatever. Here's one not like that, but maybe you'll like it. We don't know. Like a couple random shots to get you out of your comfort zone.
Other
During
people
Steam
that
sales,
play, go ahead.
during Steam sales when they're running events, every time you do a queue, you'll get a card, and you can do it up to 3 times per day, so you can get cards without buying stuff. So always do it then.
Yeah. But yeah,
And I know for a fact that when if you like a thing from that, that is a signal back into that loop to let that get exposed to somebody else.
100 times over. And yeah,
Go on,
it'll
sorry.
like suggest things like other people that play this collection of games that you play also have this one in their list. Whether or not it's the same type, it's people that have tastes similar to you also liked this, regardless of what it's tagged. I play funny fart joke platformers, and it turns out that everyone else that likes funny fart joke platformers loved the Stanley Parable, even though it's a not Freudian, promise. Just don't speak English. Even though it's a walking simulator, it's still got the same sense of humor that appeals to the people who like the fart joke platformers. And I'll be like, oh, hey, apparently this is pretty funny from watching the thing. Yes, it's not a wacky, zany platformer, but I'm interested. And then that leads you to Davy's other games. And then you end up playing the beginner's guide every 6 months because you were not depressed enough. So that's your discomfort game. Sorry. We were talking about that recently. How that's my, like, everything's too okay. I'm going to play this and watch someone else's slow descent into madness. It's so good.
I still haven't played it.
It's so good.
Haven't played it.
I get yourself in the headspace. It's not like tug at your heartstrings emotional kind of. It's not that Dragon Cancer. Okay, it's not. Don't play that Dragon Cancer. Are you unfamiliar with that one? Okay, yeah. Where's
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes, I recognize that logo. Yeah.
So, yeah. That Dragon Cancer is a game where this is not a spoiler. The whole point is the game is a set of mini games to show a father's experience with child cancer. Yeah. And it is extremely well done, and it is ridiculously emotionally intensive. It will mess you up. It's executed perfectly, and it will mess you up in the head very badly. The beginner's guide is not that intensive, but in a psychological sense, it takes you to. It's one of those games that lets you explore someone else's dark place.
Yeah.
And Beginner's Guide stands out especially because it's about game developers. So, kind of hits me right here. But yeah, Beginner's Guide was written by the creator of Stanley Parable as well, and it's not as wacky zany as Stanley Parable, but the storytelling is every bit as compelling. So there are a couple of unofficial recommendations from me. Do play this one, don't play that one, but know it exists. Or go play it, but know what you're getting into. And in the meanwhile, keep making goofy games about skeletons. We're going to take a 5-minute break. I'm going to go shovel some Taco Bell down my nose real quick. Don't go anywhere. Make sure, well, don't go too far. Go a little somewhere. Go touch your grass. Go take your pills. Go get some water. Go to the bathroom. Take 5 minutes and get yourself back together. We are going to take a real quick break, run some ads, and we will be back with you shortly. Catch you in just a minute. welcome back to the Blue House Bull Session. Back here bulling with you. It's still Wednesday. It's still Smarch, May, whatever month it is. Smoontember. I'll just keep putting words together.
So I tend to play a lot of idler games.
Right.
Maybe not clickers anymore, but idlers and automations and
They
stuff
start
like
as
that, 'cause,
clickers, but rapidly devolve into idlers.
right. But especially like factory automations. And I had gotten into somebody had bought me Shapes with a Z a long time ago. I think it was James. Like, hey, this is up your alley. I got it for free, or you have it, and I never played it.
Yeah.
And then Shapes 2 came out, and it's more 3D, and I got really into that. Then early access, they had a lull, whatever. So recently I got like, oh, let me go play Shapes 1 and get all the achievements for that because I know how to play this game fairly well. I've been playing the hell out of it, going through and getting all the achievements. And I was hitting this bug where I was producing stuff fast enough, and there's belt reader says how many items are going through, and I should be able to push through 22 a second,
Yeah.
like a little over 22, but it was only ever coming up as like 19.1 or something, and I'm like, what is going on? And I went to go look into this, and somebody said, oh, under performance, there's a tick rate of 60 hertz, which is it says like perform like basically it's the tick rate of the game.
Yeah.
If you hit up against this cap, they can only do so many calculations per frame, and that's the total amount they can push through a build in one tick of one render frame. So if you want to go faster than this, you basically have to set it at a higher tick rate.
Oh my goodness.
And so I set it at 120, and just my factory exploded because everything was so rate limited by how fast it could render the frames, because this game was originally meant to be based on run in the web. So it's got a certain polling rate because it has to be able to tick within browsers, do tick
Yeah.
update, blah blah blah. But on the PC version, you can up the frame rate, not the tick rate, not the frame rate, because they're different.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it's like,
Unbelievable.
oh, this it just like changed the way I had some things set up, because I was having to run 5 lines in parallel because I was capping out how many at 19, and I was pushing more than 19. So I'm like, I'll just run another, the highway problem, just run in parallel and just split it lower. And it's like, no, I can go over 22 now. I could do less lanes. I can run more things in parallel. And yeah.
When I saw their table at PAX East, the guy said, careful, it starts by just watching it happen, and then you get sucked in. And I said to him, you bastard, you stole my best developer. And then I told him how you were a Shapes 2 junkie, and we just kind of laughed
They
about
were
all of it.
there?
Yeah.
Tobis was there. Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
Oh,
We talked about it quite a bit, and we talked about independent development quite a bit, and all. Yeah, we need to get you to one of these shows. We absolutely do.
the industry needs. I don't know if PAX is the right place. It is the de facto place because there's nothing. There's no. We used to have E3.
I was just gonna say we used to have E3,
but even E3 turned into more of the electronic side, was turned into the home electronics and not gaming. Like we need like an E3 for gaming, which I guess is what PAX largely has become, but it's still not the same. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying, and I mean there's GDC from the development side, but that's definitely more corporate conference style, which I'm into, but yeah, that is also true. They were the high roller show, hard stop. I don't know. There exists a niche in the market. There does exist that. I cannot argue that.
Oh, holy shit! There's a puzzle DLC. I didn't know that.
Ooh.
Well, that's going on my wish list.
So that's what I ought to. Well, no. I'm trying to think because I have a friend, and I'm not going to call her out by name or anything, but everything that so much as makes the corner of her mouth upturn in a smile gets wish listed, which I am fully in support of. I am hugely in support of. But I want separate lists. I want this made me smile or is interesting and please buy me this. So I know what to buy her. Because I'm a sucker and I hate my money. I'm going to buy her games.
Yeah. Well, there's also the issue of stuff that like you're wish listing because you want to track it.
Yeah.
I want to know when it goes on sale again versus like I'm putting this on my wish list that like a public wish list that like, hey, I'd be like maybe somebody buy it. It's one of the few places that I think Steam has not caught up with. Where's my swear jar? The current meta.
Yeah.
You know, Amazon has this concept. You can have a public wish list that you can link to people, put on, your profile somewhere like, hey, you want to buy me something? Here's stuff you could buy me. Like, I'd be okay if somebody bought me this as a gift.
Yeah.
Versus, here is stuff that I am putting on my secret tracking wish list.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not even saying you need dozens of different wish lists, but even just a private wish list and a public wish list.
Or a way to mark items on your wish list as this is giftable to me. I'm interested in this. Like everything I'm interested in is on my wish list. Here's the subset of those which I would not mind if someone bought for me. I care enough about it that you can arbitrarily get it for me and I won't be. These are the ones to prioritize.
Yeah. Well, you can prioritize. You can set your priority and save it, and that's what the default
Yeah, that is true.
one that will show up for other people. People don't know that. If you change your sorting, you hit save, and it will save that sort order for other people.
That is true.
And if you like manually curate it, it'll save that. But like, I usually leave it sorted like saved by discount price, whatever. Like they have like we were talking about the private games, and now you have the hidden games, and then also like the private games that like don't even show up as status things. Like, why is that missing from the wish list feature?
Yeah.
Like I have things on here they've been on my wish list for a long time, and if they fell into my lap, I would potentially be okay with owning them. I don't know if I would have time to play them right now.
Yeah. No, I get that.
I want to play them in a perfect world if I had more time. I've had Hogwarts Legacy on here for on and off for a bunch of times, and I keep it on here because every once in a while it goes on sale for like 75% off, and it's like $15. It's like, you know what? I would not pay $60 for that game. I would pay $15 because I think it's a long enough amount of content. I would get $15 of entertainment out of it.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily want somebody to buy it at $60. That's insane. I still got the Halo Infinite campaign, which I started playing it before they split the game into Halo Infinite and full stop, end of sentence, is just the multiplayer engine. Halo Infinite parentheses campaign is the story. It is optional. It is an optional $60 purchase. No, this is good. Because the microtransactions from the multiplayer, buying a skin, buying bonus XP or whatever, pays for that, and it is free to play. You do not have to buy the game to play the multiplayer.
That's the part that did not stick in my head. Sorry, that part kind of flew past me.
This way, it's not the multiplayer is entirely funded by the one-time purchase of the
Yeah.
story, and the story content can go to the people who wrote the story, and the microtransaction money can go to the people who maintain the online services. If you think about it, it's the right way to do this without neither of them having to be free to play or an add-on.
Yeah.
But it's like a whole separate entry on Steam. It is not just a DLC or a thing or in one app. It's like, this is actually like, it's a shit show of 343's, chaos of
Right.
their shitstorm there.
Right.
But this is the way it should be going forward. This is a brilliant way to do this.
Also, going back to wish listing a little bit, and again, I don't want to call out Pie by name or anything. I'm not going to identify anybody in specific here in the shoutouts. She has gotten me using the wish list. I am aware of all these features of the wish list, but in the 15 years I have had Steam installed, I did not really make much active use of it until she started prodding me about it. And now I have. And I'd seen thrown around in discussion before how important wish listing is to supporting upcoming games and independent developers and all of that. But now I've seen it from the other side. And I'm like, yes, wish list the game. Just do it. Just do it.
Yeah.
Because I did not realize how big of a difference that made. And it does.
Speaking of tips, on the top of your wish list, there's a button for options. Open that. Fucking actually use that. There's a button that exclude pre-release if you want to see the games that are actually out and not things you wish listed that have been like, oh, coming soon in development for like 3 years, and like it'll fucking release when it releases.
Yeah.
But you wish listed it like when they announced it at some Next Fest 600 years ago.
Yeah.
I had blueprints on there for years. It's like coming eventually, or Dwarf Fortress on there. They're like, when is it releasing? I don't know. Whenever. It's like you can hide those and not have to remove them. There's also a only show me ones with a discount. It just filters it like that, or 50% more. Like, there's a bunch of options on there. Use them.
I don't actually know how old my Steam account is. I really should check. How do I look that? Member since? Does it show anywhere? Oh, don't go look at my Isaac hours. There's got to be something here. I made it when I bought the orange box. Because you had to in order to install the games on the orange box.
Okay. Your profile button in the upper right. It should be green.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Click on that. The second option, account details with your name.
Account details with my name.
Okay. There should be a box that says store and purchase history.
Yeah.
The
purchase
most
history?
upper right button in there, view purchase history.
And it'll take me all the way back to my very first one, which was load more transactions. Okay. The oldest transaction I have in here is 2013.
The oldest I have is 2011.
Okay.
But that's your
right.
purchase history.
Yeah. Not key redemption history. 2007 sounds about right. And I didn't actually buy a game on Steam until a couple of years after that.
Yeah. I think there's a way.
Meh. We have at least a upper bound. My Steam account is at least 12 years old.
I know there's also a badge somewhere that you can get with your years. So you may be able to see which level of the badge you have.
I probably shouldn't be spending our entire discussion like talking about my Steam profile, although I am. Badge collector, rarest achievement. I'm okay. I'm closing Steam. I'm closing Steam. I'm not gonna sit here and look at all that forever. I'm not. We have other important things to discuss. I'm sure of it. We don't really, do we? This pretty much covers it, huh? We're gonna sit here and pull out the tape measure and guys being guys compare Steam sizes. Sorry, guys being guys compare Steam sizes. Better.
My something not a lot of people know. Talking about Steam, if you see an achievement and it's got a sparkly border around it, it means less than 10% of the people have that. If
Nice.
it's under 10%, yeah. I went to go play a game and I'm like, why are all of these sparkly? Oh, because they're all like nobody has these.
I like that. I'm not gonna lie. I like that very much. Oh, really? Really? How interesting. Man, let me tell you. Let me tell you. There's stuff coming to Let's Cafe. Boy, howdy, is there stuff coming to Let's Cafe. I still want to figure out what to do, but I have an idea what to do that I need to pitch to everyone. Now that hype trains are a supported thing, I have an idea. I have an idea. Anyway,
Detect when hype train and have a customer rush.
yes. Yes. That is honestly it.
I want lunch rush.
Yes.
I want us to get the mechanic in the game where we can have
multiple queued, not one at a
people
time.
queuing up.
An active line,
Right.
yeah.
And at halfway point around noon, slightly before to slightly after, lunch rush, and there's just more customers coming in. And their timer runs a little bit faster because they're impatient because it's their lunch hour.
Yeah.
But they tip more. So if you can hammer them out, you'll make more money during this. But it's like a surge of thing. But it's just
Yeah.
a 2-hour window, 11 to 1. Just a little wedge to a little bit for,
Yeah. I have thoughts on it. I'm going to write them up a little bit because I know we need to write some of this down in more detail anyway. But I also the ticket that I picked up, I think I know how to do that one.
Okay.
For the crowd controlled Twitch thing, etc. And I have another thought that I want to pitch you specifically, Fuzzy, because you are the I am aware of privacy and security person.
What world are we living in?
If in theory I could detect someone going live on Twitch with this as their category, can I announce that somewhere? Like outside of the game, if the server polls every 30 minutes or every 10 minutes or whatever and says, hey, Twitch API, give me a list of everyone currently live in this category.
That API call exists.
Yes. If I do that, can I use that to populate who's open? Or is that gross?
I don't know. Because right now, the who's open page is only populates if they have the
Twitch connection
things
enabled.
Right.
Right. It doesn't even populate on crowd control yet.
Yeah, we should probably fix that.
I'm going to roll that into the ticket I have.
Well, don't hold that up.
Right.
Like, get any of those out, get them out quicker. If anything, and I hate to say this, I would actually list people using crowd control first.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Yeah.
shameless money. By the way, we do not get a cut of your crowd control money.
That is true. All the crowd control coin sales and usage on your channel goes directly to you. We just do this because we like to get the game out in front of people. Actually, I just do this because I enjoy the chaos.
I was watching somebody playing Let's Cafe, and they were using crowd control because they saw it somewhere else, and somebody like, I don't know if they get a cut of there. I'm like, no, we don't. People don't understand, like, the developers they're not involved in that. That is between you and maybe crowd control, maybe takes a cut of it at transaction when people buy coins, but that is between you and crowd control. That is not in any way involving us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And because
It is literally just a feat of some lines of code we put in there to make shit talk back and forth between their server and your game, and that's it. It's just a library we drop in and a couple hooks for game events, and that's it.
all the crowd control effect packs, all the supported games are done by either the original developers or hobbyists because they want crowd control to be part of their product. It is not we don't get any cut. And that's why they have all the things like emulator support for retro games and people patching it into older games is someone said I want crowd control in this game and wrote the patch kit for that and sent it up to Jakku and Saturn and whoever else. And, they did their testing and said, yeah, it's fine. We'll officially add it to the thing. Another thing a lot of people don't know is if you are not intimidated by technology, you can grab the crowd control development kit and open a pack that someone else has been working on for a game without it being in the officially supported client stuff. If you're testing or if you make a private thing and you do not want it released as part of everything, you can do that and have support for other things. So you can have custom packs for any old game if you build it yourself or you know someone that built it or what have you. Because that whole testing process, like we have to go through that ourselves to make sure stuff works. And even then, we still run into the stuff like you were seeing where you had to back out and reconnect and everything. I have a fix for that in the works. I understand what changed and what needs to be adjusted for that. I have a fix for that in the works. But as part of that, I'm running my local new version against the SDK, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Technical mumbo jumbo. Point is, first of all, I want to take Jakku out to something better than Wendy's to eat next time I see him. Second of all, I was a believer at first concept. Now that I've seen it live, I'm like, no, we're baking this into everything up front. Whatever we make, I want to bake in crowd control support because I love it.
There's almost no reason not to.
Yeah. No, 100%. 100% they should.
I'm trying to think if there's yeah.
From a big business perspective, I can understand this doesn't provide us any immediate additional revenue. It gives it to other people. But the difference in the audience that it allows you to get, for one thing, like I've met so many amazing people because I found them on Twitch playing a game we put crowd control in. And I'm like, I made new friends from doing this. I like that. I love that experience. Man, oh man. Oh, and our custom character injector. I will forever build in some way to mess with people playing games in everything we do now. If we see you streaming it on Twitch, we're going to come screw with you. It doesn't matter what game it is and who you are. It's all because of Cluster Truck. It's all because of Cluster Truck. But yeah, we have our own internal tool. Here's your peek behind the curtains. Go ahead.
If you're gonna be in there messing with that to do the I don't know if you already grabbed the ticket.
The badge one?
No, the name 347.
Yeah, I assigned that one to myself. Yeah.
The name one. While you're in there, if you're gonna be messing around in that area, I also want 359. I think that would greatly help us, especially like today with Becca.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's going to be a little bit of a mechanic change, but I think that would be a good priority ticket to get in.
Okay. Not us talking internal business here or anything. Ha ha ha.
Well, I don't want to spoil the surprise.
No, I know. Yeah, I know what you mean. I know.
I'll leave that up to you if you want to say anything about it.
Let me go look by number and make sure I'm thinking of the right one. I'm trying to count. Oh, they're in numeric order. Oh yeah, that one. Yeah. No, I'm gonna do that.
Yeah,
I'm gonna do that.
I would do it, but there's a whole mess of undocumented and not very well supported code for working on the control on that stuff, because it's all with weird server shit that isn't very well deployable or documented how to run it locally at all. I think I impressed the hell out of them when they mentioned about documentation, and I went off on a long rant about my history and documenting stuff and writing it down. It's like, no, if it's not written down, it doesn't exist. Oral history should not exist in technology. If it's not written down, it doesn't exist, and if it doesn't exist, you're doing it wrong. And especially in a world where you follow the sun and panning off from one team to another, from EMEA to East Coast to West Coast to APAC, like, you got to have this stuff written down with you're handing off to anybody else other than you. And they're just like, oh shit, he is speaking from the trenches. And I'm like, I worked with half my team was literally in Europe, in Spain, and then other half of the team was in New Zealand. Do you realize the time zone shifting I had to do to make sure stuff got handed off between people all day?
I'll cut you a deal. Be
What?
part of the solution too. I will make a more concerted effort to keep things documented as best I am able, if you'll meet me in the middle where something isn't, instead of just saying, hey, there's no documentation around this. Write some.
Yeah, I know.
And if you don't know what it does, ask me. Come hit me over the head with the cardboard tube with questions. Ask a question, hit me with a wrench. And when I say, ow, here's your answer, remove the ow and write down the answer.
To ADHD, go back a few levels, since we were talking about ages of Steam accounts.
Yeah.
Your account has existed since July 20th, 2006.
Nice. I'm old.
Because there's a badge your account gets that's years of service, and when you go into the details, it does say member since on there.
Nice.
So
nice. Heck yeah.
I know you don't have it as a displayed badge,
right?
But I knew how to manipulate the URL to go to the
that
thing where your badges is at.
Yeah. That's why we like Fuzzy. He knows everything. Some of it he just doesn't know that he knows yet. It's one of those grand philosophy questions. Is it developing new knowledge or recovering forgotten knowledge? Yeah, he knows everything, and some of it he just has to be reminded that he knows.
I joke about this. It's like I have forgotten more about stuff than I have learned.
Yeah.
Wait, no.
No, I know. I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
Yeah. People ask like, do you know? It's like, I don't know. Probably. I probably learned it at some time. But you're talking about stuff from literally 2 decades ago. Uh, I got asked if I knew stuff about SQL, and I'm like, which flavor?
Yeah. As far as I'm not getting into the you're not baiting into me you're not baiting me into the AI rant again. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I will rise above. I will meet the 4 agreements. I will speak with truth in my heart and zero malice. I will not be baited into the AI argument. Not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. Speaking of which, I hear. Well, I'll save that for after. Something about your news that you're not announcing yet.
Uh-huh.
Anyway.
Uh-huh. Yeah. That was a fun part of that conversation too.
Yeah, we'll leave the malice for Rootworm. He got here first. You're welcome to it. We'll continue to greet you with kindness. Anyway. Skeletons. Repo, but it's Gauntlet. Gauntlet, but it's Repo. Yes, I'm still working on all the other projects I'm working on as well. But this is I wanted to learn to do these 3 things. I'm making a mock-up prototype to test them in conjunction with each other.
For some value of work.
If it ends up being something entertaining, then we'll be in the same horrendous mess that we currently are with Cafe. In a good way, but yeah, you know what I'm saying. Because it's come up with a lot of people that have asked. Cafe really started as, I'm going to make a Minecraft grid you can drag ingredients into, because I had sprites for ingredients.
Well, it's all because you stood up what became Garfcraft, and you were playing Minecraft with people, and then for whatever reason you were being the base mom, and you were
making food for everybody.
Everyone. Mm-hmm. And you're like, what's a good plentiful food you can automate? And then you made your pumpkin pie.
The pumpkin pie factory. Yep.
Right.
The fully automated pumpkin pie factory.
And making food and making food in Minecraft. So.
And I built that. And then I said, well, if I'm going to make food, I need some reason to make food. So we added the customer. Just a customer, no text. Sprite comes in, order shows up, you make appropriate food, customer leaves. And I'm like, wait a minute, customers pay for their food. Okay, I should figure out how well I made the order. And it's, did you get all of the items made? Okay, cool, 5 stars. And I'm like, well, they won't wait around forever. Okay, did you get all the items made and how fast? Let's use those 2 to calculate how much you get paid. Yeah, well, I'm from the U.S. They have a very heavy tipping-based system. All right, so now we have a calculation of how well you did the order and a price. Let's calculate a tip. Then we need more customers to come in. Okay, that gets a little dry after a while. Let's add a ton of recipes and a ton of ingredients. So now we have an inventory management system. Great. Why do I care? Well, you want to make the most money. We have the night screen. We have the overnight statistics thing. And then Fuzzy says, well, how do you play this? And here's your big secret. The entirety of the special storyline characters is because Fuzzy said the game didn't tell you how to play it. On day one, and this is a reason we need to fix the crowd control thing. Because right now the solution to crowd control is exit and return to the game. You have to go out to the title, reconnect crowd control. On day one, if you're not playing with anything enabled, if you don't have to cancel out of day one, blah, blah, blah. Mayor Chicken comes in, gives you a little spiel. You have that little dialogue at the beginning that tells you blah, blah, blah. Assuming you skimmed that at least. On day one, Mayor Chicken comes in, talks a little bit about the town, and part of his dialogue is, do you know how to make an oat latte? It's like a regular latte, but with oat milk. You are guaranteed to have oat milk in your store on day one. You always start with the recipe for a latte in your book on day one. So, in the first visit from a customer, you are told you can create recipes without having to buy them. You can substitute ingredients in a lot of recipes. You may have to figure out some of these on your own. You can stop in the middle of an order and go to the shop to pick up more ingredients, etc., etc. His initial appearance is to teach you some of the game mechanics that might not be immediately intuitive. And once we had Mayor Chicken, it's like, well, who else lives in this town? And then we have all these other characters. And Danny drew the literal cutest sprites I've ever seen in my entire life. And damn, I accidentally a whole game just from saying, what if milk and beef broth in squares?
Yeah. That's basically no full non-Scouts honor. That's entirely how all this happened. Very quickly, too.
A lot of things we've made have been like that, too. Like, one of us will have a really dumb idea, and we'll keep sticking things to it until we get something good. My good friend, Very Pink Penguin, not to be confused with Oh Pink Penguin, made a joke once, because I have a habit, personally, of making Sudoku games. I enjoy Sudoku. I like doing goofy stuff with it. And I had recently joined the Zeldathon team. And my good friend, Very Pink Penguin, said, what if Zelda but Sudoku? And we wrote one. And we're in the process of rebuilding it from the ground up. So it is no longer Zelda, but it is same style of game. It is Sudoku and also dungeons. But it really,
sort of.
it really was. Like, you have a dumb idea, and you just polish it all over until you end up with something cool. Or you polish it for 10 minutes and you're like, I don't know about this one. And you just throw it back in the rock tumbler, you know?
Yeah, writer's room.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons why Jay and I have worked so well as friends and cohorts for so long, is he is really good, for better or worse, at starting new stuff on a whim. And then he gets 25 to 50% in, and then his dopamine falls off and he goes off and does something else. Whereas I can't start shit, but if you hand me something that's broken and you can tell me if you hand me a pile of stuff and can show me on the box what it's supposed to look like, I will assemble your grill.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I can take it to that point. I can take a started broken thing and fix it, or take a thing that's almost done but needs some polish and polish it up. I can't start stuff, but I can take something and finish it, or I can take a finished thing and keep it alive forever and expand on it.
And while I can finish things, I don't, because I get easily distracted. And then we brought in Off by One and Ego, because A, they have domain expertise, and B, they fit really well in the middle of that. They both do. Also, they're just amazing people all around. I love those
Also,
guys.
they both bring more creative perspective.
Yeah.
It's not, it expands effectively our creative genetic pool. So it's not just the experiences that two of us have had, because which may be limited because we basically grew up together.
Yeah.
So we are slightly different facets of the same person who may or may not be named Michael.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we are.
To
I'm not
which
even going to deny it.
Rootworm and Chur can entirely attest.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically.
They both knew, said Michael. They both know that we are like halves of him carried further a generation.
Yeah.
So anyway, about Project Sushi, I'm gonna write down some more stuff, but
Yes,
it's in the
please do.
rotation too. It's in the rotation too. But yeah, we're gonna go back and get a bunch of stuff added to Cafe, get it pushed to out to our internal testers first.
We
And
need to get an up. We need to push what we have. I think stable needs push now because I noticed the book update isn't out,
yeah,
and the hover text and a few other things that I know have been completed since like March. I don't think we put a new update out.
well, I want to get the crowd control stuff fixed, and I want to do the 2 tickets that you mentioned.
Yeah.
When we do that, I'm good pushing a new stable. Get cracking on Maine. Yeah, yeah. You know what? I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna call it. We look for a fairly large update coming before the end of May to Let's Cafe. That's 2 weeks, right? May has 35 days.
Something half September.
April, June, and Montana. All the rest have stormy weather, except in summer, which isn't often. It was in Looney Tunes once. Daffy Duck said that. Yes, yes, you absolutely can. We are technically not listed as Steam Deck compatible.
I know a thing about that. It's because controller support.
Yes.
Part of a
And there's
dumb
there's
thing
one,
is
there's one other thing in there as well that was listed, but
the preference storage thing. If you mark your game as supported on Steam Deck, god damn it, because of the inherent nature that it is controller supported, you have to meet the controller support checks for your Steam game, which means you have to have the Steam Deck API controller API, blah blah blah, for human input device, all these other things, and we do not. That
yeah,
is the large primary blocker, is you have to have controller support even if the game doesn't actually use control. Like in our case, yeah, you'd have to, but there's games where you don't need the controller, but you're playing it on Steam Deck, but you're playing like something else. It has to have the flag that says it supports it.
yeah.
There was a game that it was failing. Yeah, I think it was a tap game. Like, yeah, but you don't have the flag that says I support controller, even though it's a touch only game.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh, that's why it was failing. And it's some dumb thing, because 99% of games you're gonna be like, I'm using a controller on this controller device. Yeah.
But we do have one of our friends that plays pretty much exclusively on his Steam Deck.
I wonder if I would play more games if I because I did use my For a while I did play my Switch a lot.
Well, that's another one of my big takeaways from PAX East. It was the first opportunity I'd had to pick up, hold, and play a Steam Deck, like actually in my hands.
Mm-hmm.
I want one.
Oh yeah.
And it is an important platform to target. We don't necessarily have to go deck first, but remember that a lot of people will play it if it's called out as Steam Deck supported.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think where we failed on that is we leaned kind of hard into this is a streamer game
Yeah.
early on and did not think about the people who play it effectively offline solo. Because
Right.
there's Scott who
Scott.
has his day 600 or whatever the fuck.
Yeah. Yeah.
Our good friend Scott, that a whole chunk of people in the chat are gonna know. Scott
I see you when you
plays
watch the
play
VOD, buddy.
plays the game, played the game early. He was an early tester because friends and family first, and he's had his one save forever. We had to change the way we did some updates to make sure we roll
Yeah.
forward saves to not break like saves when we go forward, to make sure they like transition forward and update to not break that, because he's like, yeah, I went to go load it and it broke, and like, oh yeah, let's not do that, because he's had his one save from the early beta from like 2 years ago, and he's on day, I want to say it's in the hundreds.
Yeah.
It's like 200 or 300. He's just said he's been there. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Should we have an achievement that's like reach day 365? Call it Here We Are Again.
Probably. Can we fold it into the seasons update?
Yeah.
I'm into it.
Like, I want make well, no, because how many days we decide the seasons were going to be?
We didn't. We went back and forth a whole bunch of times and we never landed on a number.
But I want day 365 specifically.
Yeah.
Even that's like 5 or 6 loops around the seasons, if we make them
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
15, 30 days, 20 days or whatever. But like, I want for you to have 365 game days in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Talk about a platinum achievement, what less than 1% of people have.
I'm into it. I'm here for it. Absolutely.
Oh,
Oh.
okay. The day only counts if you make money. You can't just start the day and end the day. You have to have a profit on the day.
An
You have to have
income,
at
not
least
a
one customer.
profit. A revenue, not a profit.
So just sell one ingredient.
Yeah. Or serve one customer. The reason I say not profit is because a lot of people have restock days. And they're like, I served customers all day, but I also bought everything in the damn store. My profit is negative $1,100.
Shh, we don't talk about that. Okay,
Enough that they thought he
specifically
was
11,
a bot.
11 specifically 11 we don't talk about, because the only way to sell stuff in that game was to have your character just stand there in vendor mode, and people would just stand outside the city. That was the only way to sell stuff, sell high ticket stuff. So you literally had to idle in that game. So we don't talk about offline time in that game.
Yeah.
In 14, I have something like months of time.
I have thousands of hours in Isaac Rebirth. Does that count? That doesn't count. All right. We're about at time anyway. I'm going to go eat the rest of this Taco Bell now that it's had a chance to get cold and gelatinous. Uh-oh.
I
You
I looked this up back in March for some because we were talking. Jeff was being teased about his game time, and I showed that like I haven't played this game since 2013. We're talking about EQ2.
Yeah.
Like I haven't played in 11 years, and I still had more hours logged in the game than he has, and he has been playing it since.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she's like, "What the fuck?" And I'm like, "I got a job because of that. I gamed so hard, I got a job out of it."
That is true.
You know?
That is
And then I
100%
looked
a
up
true
my 14
story.
time. My Final Fantasy 14 character had 772 days of game time.
Unreal, man. Absolutely unreal.
This was last March, not this year. This was March of 2024.
I should go look up my City of Heroes time, except it doesn't really exist anymore. Anyway, someday.
Yeah.
I think we are going to call it here, though. Like I said, I'm going to go eat my Taco Bell now that it's cold and gelatinous. Thank you all so much for coming and hanging out with us. We'll go find someone to raid. In the meanwhile, if you like us particularly and want to see what we're doing, come join the Blue House Discord, the Jardis Fan Info Club. It's the best way to find out when the shows are. I'm going to try and do... Okay, no Music Friday. Absolutely no Music Friday. Not going to happen. Not at all. No way whatsoever. Because every time I say that I'm going to. So whatever you do, don't block off any time for me on Friday. I'm not going to see you. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And in the meanwhile, who's live? Who's live? Let's go see. Who are we going to go shower some love on today? I don't know. You want to go say hi to Alex? Oh. Let's go crash in on Carb. How's that sound? Go crash in on Carb. We're going to go raid my good friend, Liminality Carb. If I can figure out how to Liminality Carb. I'm not
Use
Carb.
the raid browser.
No. I don't have the screen real estate for it, and I can't figure out how to raid from it.
Click name, click raid.
There's no raid button.
Yeah, there is.
No, I know what I'm looking at. There's no raid. Go ahead, send me your screenshot. It's not on my screen. Anyway, thank you so much. We love you guys. We will catch you next time around. Be safe, be well.